Today I thought I'd talk to you about how often should you change a workout routine.
Train the muscles, not the joints.
So welcome back to Natural Gallant Bodybuilding, and thank God it's actually nice today because every day it's been raining, and last week was a week from hell for me because we've been doing all this house stuff and everything, but we sold our house, so anyway I can start getting back into the groove here and getting some regular uploads like almost every day going on. Okay, so I'm back, everything's good. It's just that we went through a whole storm week of a lot of stuff that had to get done. So any of you guys that are wondering why I wasn't on there every single day, that's what's happening. So I am going to be doing more live casts as well. Sometimes you'll see me just randomly jump online, but most likely I will be jumping on every Saturday. But if you want to make sure that you're receiving the notifications for my live casts, make sure you click subscribe, and then when I go live, it'll actually end up in your email box, okay? But if you want to even go further than that, what you do is you click the gear icon beside subscribe and then say receive notifications, and then you'll immediately get notified whenever I upload a video as well. And this will help you just be in the loop, right? So usually when I jump online, I'm going to be online for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, sometimes longer, answering random questions and Q&A and all that kind of stuff, right? Pretending that there's an exact answer for everything when there really isn't, because each person has a different answer that's appropriate for them. So sometimes I kind of like that that sort of interaction, just because each individual is going to need different information at a certain time, right? So it's really hard to make these videos where there's just a general rule for everyone, because basically what I'm teaching on this channel is that there really isn't a general rule for everyone like across the field, because different people have different genetics, different needs, different stuff going on. You know, one person that's diabetic might have something different going on in their diet than somebody that's not, you know? So there's a lot of individual sort of circumstances that change the decisions that go on with somebody's training program. So honor yourself as an individual, honor what you need, and honor what your body's telling you based on what you're doing. So any advice I give you, when you apply it, pay attention, see what your body's telling you, see what's happening, and then adjust from there. And of course, those questions can come up during the live Q&A. You could say, listen, I tried this, but this is what's happening. And then I could give you a couple suggestions anyway to see if that's if something different might work or be more appropriate for you in that case. Okay, so yeah, so that's where the live Q&As are going to be really good, right? So once you guys apply some of the things that I'm talking about, and then you can see what's working for you and what's not, and then we can kind of hone it from there. So it's almost like a free consultation, honestly. It really is, because that's what I do in consultations, is I basically help you decide what's right for you. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about how often you should change your workout routine. Now for me, I was brutal in the beginning stages of my training. Like I would stick to a training program for years, like 2-3 years or whatever, and say, okay, this is the way things are. So a lot of times when a beginner comes on my channel and makes a comment, I can usually tell. Nothing against beginners, because we all have been beginners in everything at one point in our life or another. But sometimes the beginners will be more locked into a technique than the advanced people, because the beginners have not yet seen the limitation of the technique they're using. So sometimes people say, hey, you got to touch your chest when you bench press, or you got to squat ass to the grass in order to get results. And then ding, right away, I know that's a beginner talking to me on my YouTube channel. So if they come from a place of questioning and being open and saying, Jason, I want to know, what do you think about this? I'll be more than open to discussing anything with them. But if they come from a position of attack or negativity, or just trying to just be hard to get along with, I just go mute, and then they keep on messaging and commenting, but nobody ever reads their comments. So I have the power. I'm like He-Man at the keyboard. Yeah, it's pretty empowering. It's more empowering than actually doing bench presses. Just mute. There you go. All negativity dispelled. Instantaneous superpowers. I have the power. So how often should you change your workout routine? Well, for me in the beginning, like I said, I used to get locked in for a year, 2 years, and just say, okay, this is the way it is. And I was so afraid to change my routine, because I knew that I had gotten a certain amount of results. But then I'd be like, okay, well, I don't want to lose my results, so I don't want to change. But of course, that couldn't be farther from the truth, because if you change your routine up, what will happen is that you'll hit different muscle fibers, you'll hit different pathways, you'll work your body in new ways, and if anything, it will build upon the gains that you had already made from the other type of training routine. And you'll also expand your awareness of how your body responds to certain types of training techniques. So ultimately, don't get locked in. I always say this, don't get too locked into one technique, because what's right for you today might not be right for you tomorrow. But usually what I found is anywhere from 3 weeks to 3 months is good to stick to a training program. I mean, if we're gonna get down to the meat and potatoes, 3 weeks to 3 months. So if you're doing like one of my 2-day split A programs, you can feel free to just do it for 3 weeks like I suggest, because that's minimum. Or you can do it for 3 months and then move on to the next training routine and then go from there. And then I would recommend you go through A, B, and C in the 2-day split, and then start moving to the whole body workouts or move to a 3-day split, which I'm going to have on my website at some point. I'm going to start doing a 3-day split, so it's closer to a bro split. And I know it goes against a lot of the stuff that I suggest, but the thing is that I'm trying to change different parameters in these training programs so you're hitting different weak links in your body so you will continue to put on muscle mass, right? Because you can only be as strong as your weak link. So yeah, 3 weeks to 3 months, that's usually generally what I've found to be effective, to change the routine, at least subtly, whether you're increasing volume or changing the intensity of the weights or the rep ranges, or maybe you're changing the program altogether. Maybe you're changing from 2-day splits to 3-day splits or 4-day splits, or you're going super frequent, you're doing whole body workouts 4 days a week, or you might be even training less frequently and just training less, period. Like you might be just training 3 days a week and saying, okay, I just want to have a super amount of recovery right now. It's almost like a deload type of training system where you're focusing on being able to always be fully recovered before you train again. So that way anything that's maybe lagging in recovery, maybe it's your nervous system, maybe it's your immune system, or maybe it's certain structures in your body, maybe some ligaments, tendons, whatever, and you might be going through a healing stage. You might be using a program as a healing stage, saying, I'm gonna get some blood flowing, but I'm gonna make sure I'm getting that extra recovery, just to make sure if anything's not recovered fully, I'm gonna make sure I'm giving it that extra time to recover, okay? So yeah, it's good to play with these different programs, and it's good to try new things and to see, because sometimes your body might surprise you. Sometimes your body was totally responding to the full body workouts, 4 days a week or whatever. And then another time your body's responding to just training a body part once a week, but doing super high volume. And another time you're training very little and then you're getting massive results. And that's why, if you ever want to know why people are arguing on the internet, this is why. It's because each technique is actually relevant and each technique does work. It's just a matter of no technique works forever, right? So 3 weeks to 3 months, that's what I recommend. Another way to know how long to train in a training program is when you notice that your results just plateau or they just start to go backwards. One way to tell when you should change your training program is when you start to get weaker, or maybe you're not getting as good a pump, or maybe you're losing a little bit of muscle and you don't know why, and your diet and everything is still in check, but everything seems to be kind of backing off a little bit. At that point, I'd probably make a decision to say, maybe something needs to change here. Maybe I've done this pathway to death and now I'm almost overtraining a certain pathway and I need to change something up. So that's a good sign that you need to change something up. When something is not necessarily producing a result anymore, and sometimes it's going backwards. You're not even just plateauing. Sometimes you're actually losing some of the gains that you've had before, okay? So then you know for a fact that it's a good thing to change things up. Another sign that you need to change things up is if your body is getting so sore, like such as your joints are getting inflamed up, or your back is getting tight all the time, or your shoulders always getting inflamed up, and it feels like you're always a perpetual car wreck going to the gym, then you know for a fact you need to change something up. You need to maybe increase the rep ranges and lower the intensity of weight, or change the range of motion, or change the frequency at which you're training. Maybe you need a few more days off, because this is all based on your stress level at the time. Sometimes you start a program, right, and your lifestyle is a certain way. And then another time you might be doing the same program and then your lifestyle is extremely stressful. Maybe you're not getting a lot of sleep. Maybe you just have some kids or something like, something's going on in your life. And if you continue to do the same program that used to work before, it won't work for you now because your body is going through a whole different level of stress. So that will affect your hormones. That will affect how your body heals, basically. It'll affect how your body recovers. So you have to basically use the program that is right based on everything that's going on in your life at the time. So if you start noticing that your joints and everything are just going to hell, that's a good sign that you need to change something in your program or change your program altogether. Now, another sign you need to change your program is when you're not enthusiastic about your training. When you're going to the gym and you're just going through the motions and you're kind of just burned out, you're just not enthusiastic, you're not really happy to be there. And honestly, that's 90% of it. If you have a lot of motivation and you're enthusiastic about your workouts, that's gonna make a lot more happen in the gym, because your enthusiasm is going to be that fire that drives you through your workout, that helps you push through those reps that are hard to push through. To be my training partner, you gotta step up your game a little bit. It helps you push through the pain, the burn of the muscles and things. It helps you break through barriers and plateaus that you had before. It's that enthusiasm. So if you notice that your training program is dead, like you're just not enthusiastic about going to the gym, a good thing for you to do is to change things up, because sometimes that can breathe new life into your enthusiasm and into your excitement for the gym. And I find that when I'm doing something new, or I'm doing a different exercise, or I'm trying something new, it just makes the whole process much more fun and helps refresh it up a bit. Now, another sign that you might need to do change your program up is Another sign that you might need to change your workout routine up is if you're feeling burned out. So this is really in alignment with the overtraining thing, but I'm talking about not necessarily joint pain or injuries, but you're feeling tired all the time. You are perpetually dragging your feet. So when you go into the gym, it's hard for you to get a pump. You feel like you're just tired. You feel like you're just not able to push at all. And it has nothing to do with mental enthusiasm. It just has to do with your body. It just seems like there's just no energy there. So this is a sign that you may be overtraining. You may have just burned your body out in whatever type of program that you're doing. Perhaps you're doing too much volume, perhaps you're doing too much weight, perhaps you're doing too much frequency, but this is a sure sign that you might need to back off on something and change the program, okay? So if you change the program to having 2 days a week off instead of 1 day, that might make the difference. Another way to do this is to incorporate less compound movements during the week. Maybe you're doing a lot of deadlifts, maybe you're doing a lot of squats, but maybe you're overkilling these pathways and that's causing you to burn out as well, because you only need to stimulate the body to grow, but you don't want to overstimulate the body. So sometimes routine, if it's overstimulating you, you will get a sign from being perpetually overtired all the time. And then when you go to the gym, most of the time you're just so burned out you can't even push yourself, okay? So this might be another sign that you need to change your program up. So I hope these tips help you understand when you should change your program up, or give you a general idea anyway. And thanks a lot for watching, and make sure you tune in and share my stuff, because you know it's the right thing to do. That's right. The crow's agreeing with me. So anyway, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you soon.